So right now, somewhere out there, there's an AI brain. And it was, trained in this pristine multi-million-dollar virtual reality simulation.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's stepping into a physical, 200-pound metal body for the very first time.
Yeah.
Takes one step, hits a slightly slippery patch of concrete, and just falls completely flat on its face on the factory floor.
It happens every single day. I mean, there is just this massive, unforgiving wall between writing brilliant software code and actually surviving in physical reality.
Right. And breaking through that wall, well, that's exactly what we are getting into today. We're doing a deep dive into the immutable era of physical AI.
Which is such a massive shift.
It really is. Because for the last few years, artificial intelligence has basically been like a brain trapped in a jar, right?
Exactly.
It generates text, it makes these pretty pictures on a screen, but it has zero physical presence.
Mm-hmm.
But that is ending. AI is finally stepping out of the internet.
It's getting a body.
Yes. It's getting a body, it's learning how gravity works, and, well, today we are looking at the multi-trillion-dollar race to basically give it gravity boots.
And to map out exactly how this is happening, we are unpacking a really dense stack of global tech analysis today.
We've got a lot to get through.
We really do. We've gone through future impact reports from the World Technology Congress, deep dive hardware investment teardowns.
Oh, the teardowns are fascinating.
Yeah, they really get into the weeds. And we also have some incredibly revealing robotics data out of China from Goldman Sachs, plus strategic breakdowns of this brewing war between Tesla and NVIDIA.
So our mission for this deep dive is to basically cut entirely through the sci-fi movie hype.
Please.
Right. We're going to figure out how this hardware meets software revolution actually functions on a physical level.
Right.
Like where the smartest money in the world is flowing right now.
Because that's the real indicator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And crucially, how this is going to fundamentally rewire your everyday life.
Because it will.
It really will. Whether you are listening to this on a commute or, sitting at a desk or out on a tractor, ignorance just isn't an option here.
No, it's not.
This isn't confined to some robotics lab at a university in Boston anymore. This is going to hit logistics networks, operating rooms, the actual highways you drive on. You need to know the architecture of what is coming just to stay ahead of it.
Which is exactly why we need to ground this whole conversation in immediate economic reality.
Right. Let's look at the numbers.
Because before we start, hallucinating about humanoid robots cooking us breakfast.
Which would be nice, but
yeah, we have to prove that this shift isn't just conceptual vaporware. And the financial data proves it is scaling right now.
The analysts certainly aren't mincing words about the scale, that's for sure. There's this quote from a Fortune 500 executive in the WTC reports that actually, stopped me in my tracks.
Oh, the atom bomb quote.
Yes. They compared generative AI, the chat bots we've all been playing with, to unseen bullets. Disruptive but invisible.
Right.
But then they categorize physical AI as an atom bomb landing in our backyard.
It's a strong image.
It's wild. And the projections back it up. They show this market surging from around $371 billion in 2025 to, wait for it, $2.4 trillion by 2032.
But here's what is truly fascinating about that. You don't even have to look to 2032 to see the bomb going off.
You don't?
No. If you look at the Goldman Sachs data from China's manufacturing sector, this is from July 2025, it paints a really stark picture of reality right now.
Okay, break that down for us.
So if you look at the broad industrial automation market over there, which basically means the general capital expenditure, the money companies spend on expanding their basic brick and mortar factories.
Like traditional conveyor belts and stuff.
Exactly, just general expansion. It actually softened. It dropped by 2% year over year.
Wait, let me stop you right there. Because a 2% drop in a massive manufacturing economy, that is significant.
It's huge.
Right. When general spending is down, everyone is tightening their belts. So if the broader economy is soft, who on earth is signing purchase orders for bleeding-edge robotics?
It seems counterintuitive.
Yeah. Are they just buying expensive toys to look cutting edge while their core business shrinks?
It totally looks like a paradox from the outside, but it's actually a pure survival tactic.
How so?
General industrial capex is constrained, yes, but within that constrained budget, manufacturers are fiercely prioritizing advanced robotics.
Okay.
So while general dumb automation spending dropped by 2%, sales of industrial robots surged 20% in that exact same window.
20%.
Yes. and a very specific category, collaborative robots or cobots.
Oh, cobots.
Right, the ones designed with advanced sensors to work safely right next to human beings. Those grew by a massive 52%.
52% growth in a down market.
Yeah.
That's staggering.
Right.
I mean, it's like a carpenter who refuses to expand their physical workshop because money is tight, but then they turn around and drain their entire savings account to buy one highly specialized, insanely expensive power tool.
That is the perfect analogy.
Just because they know it's the absolute only way they can fulfill their orders faster than the guy across the street.
That is the exact dynamic playing out. They aren't expanding capacity, they're desperate to improve unit economics, and domestic Chinese companies are absolutely dominating this surge.
Who are the big players there?
Well, look at a company called Eston. They saw 44% volume growth.
Wow.
And another massive player, Innovance, saw their sales of large 6-axis robots explode by over 550%.
Okay, 550% is that's exponential. And those 6-axis robots, those are the incredibly complex arms that can pivot in almost any direction, right?
Exactly. And Innovance is also rapidly climbing the global ranks in what are called PLCs.
Okay, for someone who hasn't walked a factory floor recently, what is a PLC and why does that matter?
Right, so a PLC is a programmable logic controller. Think of it as the spinal cord of a factory.
The spinal cord, okay.
Yeah. It's the industrial computer that takes a command from the brain and tells the mechanical arm exactly when to fire its motors.
Got it.
Moving up the ranks in PLCs means these domestic companies aren't just building the dumb metal arms anymore. They are capturing the actual nervous system that controls them.
Okay, so that explains the why. They're surgically investing in efficiency just to survive.
Precisely.
They're bypassing broad upgrades to heavily target specific sectors. The data shows this is all flowing into electronics manufacturing, auto parts, and lithium battery production, right?
Yes. While legacy sectors, like solar, actually saw robot sales decline.
That's fascinating. But how are they actually pulling this off? Because, a robotic arm on an assembly line 10 years ago was really just repeating a blind, pre-programmed motion.
Right, just swinging back and forth.
Exactly. If they're spending billions on this new ways of machines, these robots have to actually perceive their environment, don't they?
They do. And this brings us to the anatomy of the machine itself. We are moving from blind repetition to true situational awareness, which requires a totally new technology stack.
Let's get into that stack.
To build a physical AI, you have to layer distinct, highly complex technologies on top of one another.
I really want to unpack this stack because the reports show it maps so perfectly to human biology.
It really does.
Let's start with the eyes, the perception layer. Because, if a robot is working next to me on a line, I really needed to know exactly where my head is before it swings a 50-pound sheet of metal.
Yeah, that's pretty crucial. The perception layer is arguably the most critical starting point. If you look at who is solving this right now, a great example is a company called Ouster.
Ouster, okay.
They recently acquired a group called Stereolabs, and their entire thesis is that one type of sense just isn't enough. They are combining LiDAR with AI depth cameras to create what they call multimodal perception.
So let me make sure I have this right. LiDAR uses lasers to map physical distance. It's great for building a 3D geometry of a room, but it doesn't actually know what it's looking at, right? Like it just sees a flat octagonal shape. It doesn't know it's looking at a red stop sign.
Exactly. LiDAR gives you pristine depth and distance, but it completely lacks context.
Okay.
Now, a camera gives you color, text, and context. It knows it's a stop sign, but traditional cameras really struggle to instantly judge depth, especially in bad lighting.
Oh, that makes sense.
So by fusing them together into multimodal perception, the robot gets human-like situational awareness. It sees the shape, calculates the exact millimeter distance using LiDAR, and understands the visual context simultaneously.
That's incredible. But, having a great pair of eyes doesn't mean much if your brain takes 5 seconds to process what you're looking at.
No, it doesn't.
If that robot arm is swinging and I step in front of it, it can't wait for a signal to bounce from its camera to a Wi-Fi router, up to a cloud server in Virginia, and back down again just to decide to hit the brakes.
You'd be crushed by the time the data packet returns.
Exactly. I'd be crushed.
And that is the fundamental problem of latency in physical AI. Which brings us to the second anatomical layer, edge compute.
Edge compute. What does the edge mean in this context?
The edge just means the processing is happening locally, right there on the physical machine, at the absolute edge of the network.
Oh, I see.
The AI has to make life or death decisions in milliseconds without relying on the cloud.
But how do you do that without strapping a massive hot server rack to the back of a robot dog? I mean, the computing power required to run these AI models is monstrous.
That is where the silicon architecture gets really fascinating. You look at chips being developed by companies like Ambarella, specifically their N1 chip.
Ambarella N1.
Right. They are managing to run these massive, complex AI models locally at under 50 watts of power.
Under 50 watts. That sounds low. Give me some context.
To put that in perspective, a traditional data center GPU, the kind sitting in a server farm generating those chatbot responses, pulls anywhere from 300 to 700 watts.
Wow.
And it needs extreme liquid cooling just to keep from literally melting.
Okay, so we've shrunk the brain down to 50 watts. We have the eyes, we have the fast reflexes, but that 50 watts still needs to come from somewhere.
Right.
Which brings us to the metabolism of the robot, the battery and power delivery. Because managing electrical current in a tiny enclosed space isn't just a software problem, it's a brutal physics problem.
It is the ultimate bottleneck. Electrical resistance creates heat.
Right.
If you try to push massive amounts of power through microscopic pathways on a circuit board to feed that AI brain, the energy gets lost as heat, and eventually the whole system fries.
And obviously you can't have factory robots bursting into flames.
No, OSHA tends to frown on that. But if you look at the deep dive investments into solving this, there's a company called Vickr that developed a technology they call the last 1.5 millimeters.
The last 1.5 millimeters. Explain the physics of that. Like, what exactly happens in that last millimeter and a half?
So usually power is routed horizontally across the surface of the motherboard before it reaches the die. Yeah, semiconductor jargon for the actual physical silicon chip where the processing happens.
Got it.
Crossing that horizontal distance on the board creates resistance. What Vickr essentially did is build a vertical power elevator.
Oh, vertical.
Yes. They deliver the power directly down, straight into the compute die, completely eliminating that horizontal travel distance.
It is brilliant.
That last 1.5 millimeters of vertical delivery is what solves the power density constraint. It is literally the difference between a robot that can process its environment for a full 12-hour shift and a robot that catches fire in 5 minutes.
So when you step back and look at this entire stack, the multimodal eyes, the low wattage edge compute, the vertical power delivery, it's pretty clear that building the ultimate physical AI isn't a one-company job.
Not at all. It's the classic picks and shovels dynamic.
Like the gold rush.
Exactly. During a gold rush, the people who get rich consistently are the ones selling the shovels. It frankly doesn't matter if Tesla or Boston Dynamics or some stealth startup in Tokyo builds the ultimate market-winning humanoid robot.
Because they all need the parts.
Every single one of them will need advanced perception, low-latency edge compute, and high-density power delivery.
But that massive power constraint we just talked about, the limits of batteries and heat, that is exactly why you won't see a $100,000 robot folding your laundry tomorrow.
Right, the economics don't work for that yet.
Exactly. Because the hardware is so expensive and power-hungry, this technology is being forced to scale first in industries where the return on investment is immediate, massive, and highly quantifiable.
Yes.
Which brings us to how this is rewiring real life. Let's start with mobility, the highway, because the analysis makes it very clear. Your car is no longer just metal, rubber, and an engine.
Not even close.
It is a sentient supercomputer on wheels.
The modern software-defined vehicle is just an absolute marvel of engineering. A premium electric vehicle today operates on over 150 million lines of code.
150 million.
Yeah. For context, the entire Apollo 11 mission that put a man on the moon ran on about 145,000 lines of code.
That is insane.
Even a modern F-35 fighter jet operates on about 25 million lines. Your car is blowing that out of the water.
But the shift here isn't just about having more code. It's that the AI is acting as a proactive co-pilot rather than a reactive machine, right?
Precisely.
The car is using sensor fusion to achieve real situational awareness. Like, the example in the report was wild. Instead of just waiting for an impact to deploy an airbag, the interior cameras monitor your posture and the frequency of your yawns.
Right, checking if you're falling asleep.
Yes. And if it senses you are drowsy and slouching, and the exterior LiDAR senses a sudden braking event ahead, the AI adjusts the deployment force of the airbag to match your specific body position before the crash even happens.
It's anticipatory.
Exactly. Or on a less dramatic scale, if you're driving an EV and it's freezing outside, the AI calculates the battery drain and realizes it's way more efficient to just warm your seat and steering wheel rather than blasting hot air through the entire empty cabin.
It's optimizing physical reality in real time.
It really is.
And that same leap from reactive automation to proactive autonomy is completely upending healthcare, too.
Oh, healthcare's huge.
We aren't just talking about a robotic arm passing a scalpel to a human surgeon anymore. We are talking about self-correcting surgical robots. If human tissue shifts by a millimeter during a procedure, the AI adjusts its trajectory mid-cut.
See that? That requires an incredible leap of trust.
It does.
We are trusting a machine to make a life-or-death decision with a scalpel based on its own real-time perception.
Yes.
But this actually raises an important question, something we really need to highlight.
What's that?
Well, if these autonomous systems are learning from existing medical data, aren't we risking deepening health disparities if that training data is inherently biased?
That is a very real concern.
Right. If the historical data has gaps, the AI inherits those gaps.
Exactly. The source material notes that unbiased data curation is a massive hurdle, but from a purely operational standpoint, the efficiency gains seem impossible for hospitals to ignore.
Sure, the speed.
The data shows AI-driven diagnostics are cutting scan analysis from hours to literally minutes. And even on the bureaucratic side, like administrative claims processing, it's being reduced by 85%.
85%, that's massive.
And that efficiency metric is the absolute North Star for physical AI adoption. Where is the ROI undeniable? You see this most starkly in the defense sector.
Right, because on a battlefield, latency literally equals failure.
Precisely. There's a specific use case highlighted in the reports from a company called Moog.
Oh, the Fort Hood demo.
Yes. They ran a demonstration at Fort Hood targeting drone threats. They integrated highly advanced perception radar, the Echo Shield, directly with edge compute and tied it to what's called kinetic actuation.
Let's translate kinetic actuation for a second. That basically just means taking the digital decision and turning it into a physical muscle twitch, right?
That's a great way to put it.
Like aiming and firing a physical mechanism.
Exactly. It's the robot taking physical action in the real world. By eliminating the need to send data to a command center and back, this system can detect an incoming drone, track its flight path, calculate the intercept vector, and physically fire a neutralizer.
And how fast does it do all that?
It completes that entire loop from detection to neutralization in under 3 seconds.
3 seconds. I mean, if a drone is coming at you at 100 miles an hour, you don't have time for a human to interpret a radar blip and push a button.
You really don't.
That is the ultimate binary ROI. The threat is either neutralized or it isn't.
Whether it is a defense system intercepting a target or an autonomous forklift increasing warehouse throughput by 20%, the first wave of the immutable era is driven entirely by these hard, unforgiving metrics.
So to get from swatting drones out of the sky in a controlled defense environment to a future where a robot can actually navigate the absolute chaos of your living room without tripping over a dog toy.
Which is much harder than swatting a drone, surprisingly.
Right. The AI needs to understand the whole messy world. It needs endless amounts of data to build what computer scientists call a world model. It basically has to learn physics.
It does.
But there is a massive problem brewing over how to actually get that data, and it has triggered a clash between two of the biggest titans in the tech world, Tesla and NVIDIA.
This is perhaps the most critical bottleneck in AI right now. It's a phenomenon known as data depletion.
Data depletion.
Yeah. For the last decade, AI models grew exponentially smarter by just scraping the internet. They read every Wikipedia article, every Reddit post, and watched millions of hours of video.
Right, they consumed everything.
But the well is running dry. The internet is essentially out of high-quality human-generated text. But more importantly, for physical AI, you cannot teach a robot how much a glass of water weighs just by having it read the word water.
Text doesn't teach gravity.
Exactly. So the defining question of this era is, how do you train a physical robot to navigate reality when you've run out of internet data to feed it?
And the two heavyweights have taken completely opposite paths here.
Totally divergent.
Tesla's approach is to essentially ignore the internet and harvest the physical world.
Right.
Every single time a Tesla drives down the street, its cameras and sensors are sweeping up extreme amounts of chaotic, unpredictable, real-world data.
A plastic bag blowing across the street, a pedestrian acting erratically.
It captures all of it.
Yeah.
And then they feed millions of miles of this raw video back into their massive Dojo supercomputer.
Yes.
Elon Musk's stated goal is one household, one robot, with their Optimus humanoid line. And their philosophy is basically that the only way to learn reality is to actually experience reality.
But then you look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a chip maker and a software platform. They don't have a massive fleet of millions of cars driving around the globe vacuuming up data for them.
Right. They're starting from a different place.
So their survival in the physical AI space depends entirely on synthetic data.
Synthetic data. So fake data.
Basically, yes. They are building highly accurate physics-based virtual worlds using platforms like Omniverse and Project GR00T.
Okay.
Inside these massive simulations, a virtual model of a robot, like the ones Boston Dynamics builds, will literally try to walk, fall down, and try again tens of thousands of times. It learns the physics of balance in a video game before that code is ever downloaded into a physical metal robot.
It's an incredible concept, but let's elevate that analogy for a second. It's like becoming the world's absolute greatest Mario Kart player.
Okay, I like where this is going.
You've mastered every turn on the screen. But then somebody drops you behind the steering wheel of a real 18-wheeler in a blizzard on a slippery highway.
You'd crash immediately.
Exactly. The physics of the real world, the friction of black ice, the blinding glare of headlights on a wet windshield, you just can't perfectly code that into a game.
Right, you can't.
So can NVIDIA's simulated physics, no matter how pristine, truly compete with Tesla sweeping up the actual messy chaos of reality?
You've just beautifully described the sim-to-real gap.
The sim-to-real gap.
And it is the white whale for robotics engineers right now. Can a machine trained in a pristine simulation actually transfer those skills to a factory floor where, the lighting is uneven, there's an unexpected puddle of oil, and unpredictable humans are walking around?
Right, the real world is messy.
Exactly. If a simulated robot sees a glare on a polished floor, it might misinterpret it as a physical hole and just freeze completely. NVIDIA is betting billions that their physics simulations are getting so mathematically perfect that the sim-to-real gap will eventually close to zero.
And Tesla.
Tesla is betting that absolutely nothing will ever beat raw, chaotic reality.
And the absolute irony here, the twist in this entire tech Cold War, is that they are locked in this highly symbiotic relationship.
No, it's fascinating.
Tesla is betting against NVIDIA's synthetic data approach.
Yeah.
But to process their oceans of real-world video data, Tesla still has to buy tens of thousands of NVIDIA's top-tier GPUs.
Yep. They are massive customers of the very ecosystem they are trying to outmaneuver.
It is a phenomenal arms race, and whoever solves that data dilemma first will effectively own the operating system for the physical economy of the future.
Without a doubt.
It's just an unbelievable journey when you step back and look at it all. We've gone from manufacturers in China quietly scooping up six-axis robotic arms just to survive a soft economy,
to the miraculous engineering of vertical power delivery and 50-watt edge chips acting as reflexes.
Yes. And we've explored how your car is transforming into a proactive supercomputer that knows you're tired before you do. And now we're watching this multi-billion-dollar cage match over whether synthetic simulations or raw reality will ultimately teach these machines how to walk among us.
When you understand these foundational layers, the mechanical anatomy, the compute constraints, the data bottlenecks, you are no longer just reacting to headlines.
You see the big picture.
You can actually see the blueprint of where the entire physical economy is heading over the next decade.
But I want to leave you with one final, incredibly provocative thought to mull over. We've spent this entire time talking about the exponential speed of this technology.
Moving at light speed.
These AI brains are upgrading and iterating seemingly every few months. The silicon is getting smaller, the power delivery is getting denser. But the global tech reports note something that has absolutely nothing to do with physics or code: functional safety certifications.
Ah, the human element.
Yeah.
The regulatory hurdles.
Exactly. Getting an FDA approval for an autonomous medical robot or securing ISO safety standards for a self-driving vehicle routinely adds 2 to 4 solid years to a deployment timeline.
That's a lifetime in tech.
It requires massive bureaucratic review. So if an AI learns how to perform a flawless, life-saving surgery tomorrow morning, it might be the year 2030 before it is legally allowed to even touch a patient. So the puzzle for you to ponder as you go about your day is this. If the software upgrades in weeks, but the safety certifications take years, will slow-moving human bureaucracy become the ultimate, insurmountable bottleneck that holds back the entire physical AI revolution?
It's a huge question.
We are finally giving artificial intelligence its gravity boots so it can step out of the video game and into our reality. The real question is, will we actually let it walk?